The following segments are pre-recorded and sponsored by Longworth Productions.
Saving money on Triad Today. Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the beautiful Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about the garden later on, and later on is when the roundtable shows up, and we'll get into all sorts of controversial topics with them. Some great guests and important information coming your way over the half hour. Where we want to start, though, was a first-time visitor to this program and fairly new to his job. And we're talking about, of course, Dr. Shah Ardalani. He's president of Randolph Community College. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Jim.
Thank you for being here. You have, I've read your resume and all this, and you have extensive leadership experience in both public and private sector. The kind of person that could go anywhere, have any kind of job he wants. And yet you came to Randolph Community College. What attracted you to RCC and why now?
Well, yes, I have been blessed. I've been in different countries, in different parts of this beautiful country, but it all started 40 years ago when I left Switzerland, Geneva, Switzerland, and came to Greensboro, North Carolina. So coming back is home. North Carolina is home to me, and it's an honor to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here.
With great teams, we have done a lot of good things in my almost 40-year experience, including the last one. We built one of the most innovative and fastest growing community colleges in the country. So I was looking for the next challenge, and there is the biggest challenge, a lot of opportunities, and as I mentioned, North Carolina is home. So
that's great.
I applied, and I'm glad that I'm here.
Now, we hear a lot about people talking about RCC 2.0, Randolph Community College 2.0. That's an overused phrase sometimes, 2.0. But what does that mean in context of your coming and what you want to do?
Yes, RCC has over 60 years of exceptional quality service to this community. But as you know, things have changed. The world has changed. The county is changing. And when you look at it, this was not long ago that this area was supposed to be the fastest dying community in the United States.
Yeah.
But then now, billions of dollars being invested, so it was time. So we went through a strategic planning process. Myself and Linda Brown went to over 20 places. Every part of our county we went and listened to see what does the college and the community college means to them. And so RCC 2.0 is the result of all of this with the Board of Trustees, and we added another R, another C, and another C to it, which is going to be relevant, career-focused, and also commitment. We're going to renew our commitment to this community.
So now it's RCCCC.
Yes, so this is RCC times 2, really.
That's right. Very quickly, AI it's a big thing now. How do you make that work for RCC, and where does it fit in?
So AI, we're not afraid of AI. We know it's here to stay, but we know it's not going to replace everything, and more specifically, it's not going to replace a lot of people and teaching and learning that's happening, but it's going to assist. So our faculty have implemented and are incorporating into their teaching. We're incorporating in degrees and certificates that we offer, but also thanks to our county commissioners, thanks to our legislators, we got the funding to build the AI2C that we call it, is the Applied Industrial AI Center of North Carolina on campus.
Wow.
So the meetings with architects and planning have started, so it's going to be a beautiful building on campus.
We have just a few seconds left. Since you and I just met, I'm curious, very quickly, who or what led you to an interest in education?
Well, a lot of people, helping one person in our life is a blessing. I have had the honor and privilege of helping hundreds of thousands of people, so I enjoy it. I love it, but I had a lot of great mentors in my life.
Well, that's
and
great.
I want to give back.
Well, I appreciate you wanting to give back here and being part of this area. Up on screen, randolph.edu is the website. I hope you'll check that out. And Dr. Arlon, I hope you won't be a stranger to the show. Thanks for coming.
No, sir, I appreciate it. I enjoyed it. I'll be back.
All right. We'll be right back after this.
You know, it's hard to believe the Safe Sober program has been going strong for over 30 years.
And over 600,000 students have made the pledge to stay safe and sober on prom night. You know, Griff, it's had a huge impact on our community.
Yeah, you're right, David. And now we're making sure the message continues year-round.
So everyone can join us in supporting our students.
Learn more and take the pledge at safesober.com, sponsored by Daggett Schuler.
Back now on Triad Today, and we have a very special first-time visitor with us right now, a great community servant. Next to me, Captain Samuel Joyner, Community Outreach for Forsyth County Sheriff's Office. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Do people call you Sam?
They do.
Okay, well, I'll do that too. And you just call me sir, and we'll get, no, I'm just kidding with that. All right, hey, what is, you sent me an email one day about community engagement. So I'm
Yes.
going to ask you the obvious question. What do you think of when you say community engagement?
Well, obviously, the most important part is building bridges and trust between law enforcement and the community. So at its base, at its core, that's what a community engagement is.
Right.
Engaging with the community, building that trust so that they understand what we are there to do, and ultimately we're there to offer them resources and assistance when needed.
So how do you and our good friend Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough, how do you guys prioritize how you're going to do outreach? Because, I mean, it's a big area that you're covering. How do you prioritize your outreach projects, your strategy and everything?
Well, you're not wrong. We are multifaceted when it comes to community outreach, but I think for us, the Sheriff's Office, as well as Sheriff Kimbrough, the youth is always a priority. Getting involved with the youth early on, letting them understand that behind the uniform, behind the badge, we are people, we have resources. Ultimately, we are there to help,
Right.
regardless of what you may see in other jurisdictions and in the media. That's just a small percentage of certain officers that may have mishaps or misjudgments, but ultimately what we are there to do is help, and we do that through various youth initiatives that we have.
What kind of initiative or what are you guys doing to try to enhance community policing efforts?
We do a lot of things to enhance community policing efforts. We have our real-time intelligence center camera sharing program
Oh, yeah.
that community members can utilize with that.
So if you're hooked up on the camera sharing, just to review, I mean, that would work how? If I've got a cell phone that takes the video or whatever, I can do what?
Absolutely, yeah. You can register your cameras, and so a lot of people are kind of weary of the Big Brother aspect of camera sharing, and that's not actually what it does. What it lets us know is that you are a community member that is willing to share your video footage. You're letting us know that you have cameras in that area,
Okay.
and so in the event that we have a critical incident in that area, we know that we can go to you and
Yeah.
say, hey, we had a critical incident in this area. We know that you have a camera because you're enrolled in our camera sharing program. Do you mind checking your footage?
That's great.
See if you captured the
I
incident.
think that's great, because just like if something happens with a store robbery or something, you go to them and say, hey, can we see the footage of your security camera? Now you got a network of citizens around the neighborhoods. Something happens, there's a break-in, you can say, hey, Ms. Jones, we know you're registered. Can we check this out? Oh, that's
Absolutely.
great.
And who knows their community better than the citizens that live in it?
Yeah. Now, how has this had any impact that you can tell? Is it too early to tell or what?
It has actually had impact. Actually, it had impact right here in Kernersville. We had an officer-involved shooting, and through that camera sharing program, we were able to reach out and actually located some video footage that assisted in the investigation.
Wow. So it's really working already.
It is.
I think this is great. Look, we have a little bit of time left. I want to talk with you since this is the first time we've met. Ask you a personal question. You and I were talking off camera that you're a local boy like I am. Went to North Davidson and all that. And then I asked you a question because you look so young and it surprised me. I said, how long have you been on the force? And something like 22 years. Here's my question. Who or what led you to have an interest in law enforcement? Was it a parent, an aunt, an uncle, a teacher, an older buddy, or what was it?
Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked because I truly feel that law enforcement has changed my life and what I've been able to give back. And it was actually an uncle and a cousin. So I had a cousin that went into the highway patrol. I had an uncle that went into the sheriff's office. As you can imagine, they both had their own opinions about which one was better. So one of them lost out. I decided that I wanted to do a ride along with the sheriff's office. I did a ride along. I fell in love with it, and joined the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, and I've been loyal to them ever since.
I think that's a great story. And just one quick second, since you mentioned that, do people still in the sheriff's office, do you still do ride-alongs? Or?
Yes, we do.
So how can somebody get and do that and volunteer? Or?
Yeah, if they just come down to the sheriff's office, they have paperwork they have to fill out, a ride-along waiver for them. We'll schedule a date for them, and then they're free to ride along.
That's great. Up on screen, GOFCSONC, which stands for Go Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, nc.org. I hope you will check it out. Captain Joyner, it's been a pleasure meeting you. I hope you'll come back sometime.
Likewise.
All right, young man. We'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you that Triad Today also airs on GTN Spectrum Channel 13 and streams on WFMY Plus, free on Roku and Amazon Fire. Back now on Triad Today, we talk often about education. We have a lot of our special guests that come through here, and we talk about what's going on with elementary schools and high schools and scholarships. But, we don't talk that much about kindergarten. We're going to do that right now with a special guest. Leslie Mullinex is Project Director of Pre-K Priority, convened by the Family Services of Forsyth. Good to see you, Leslie.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
What is Pre-K Priority all about?
Well, it's a loaded question. It has a long definition, but I'll try to keep it short.
All right.
We are a coalition of stakeholders in Forsyth County and Winston-Salem, and we are made up of agencies, organizations, community leaders that believe that all children that are 4 deserve a high-quality pre-K experience of some sort before they go into kindergarten, because that year is so formative.
Right. Well, let me ask you a stupid question. We didn't rehearse this or anything, but why form that? Why have the coalition? Because kindergarten's been around for a long time. People who know things and really believe in education want their 4-year-olds to do it, but why? What's the priority here?
What we know from the research and the data, and this is longitudinal data over 40 and 50 years, is if children have a great pre-K experience that year before they go into kindergarten,
right,
they do much better in 3rd grade reading. Those end of grade scores that we're always talking about, reading proficiency and math, they do much better if they have a solid year before kindergarten.
Okay.
So they're prepared, ready to learn, socially, emotionally, really ready for kindergarten, and they do better throughout their whole education going forward.
You sent me an email with something called Great Expectations on it. I was reading. Now, what do you mean? I know what the book is. I was forced to read it in junior high. I shouldn't have said it. Great Expectations. What does it mean with our discussion?
Yeah, and I'm a lover of literacy and literature, so I appreciate the Great Expectations reference. I think the Kate B. Reynolds Charitable Trust in Forsyth County did a great job in choosing Great Expectations as the name of an initiative that really is centered on Forsyth County children all being ready to learn and be successful in kindergarten. So it was really focused on a breadth of things that include health and wellness, food security, and education.
Right.
And so that initiative has been funded across probably 12 to 20 different nonprofits.
Right,
and
very comprehensive.
Yes, we've been fortunate to have their support.
Now, you and your group, though, have sort of tried to enact some programs that are specific to making sure that the 4-year-olds have access to kindergarten. What's that about?
So the access that we have talked about is we have probably about 40% of children in Forsyth County that are 4 years old who currently don't have access or either maybe can't afford to go to pre-K to prepare them for kindergarten. And so what our coalition is looking at is ways to help businesses, local governments, look at a way to kind of transform our system so that more of those children have a good start before they get into kindergarten.
What kind of successes have you had?
We have been successful. I will point to my shirt, which says the future is 4 years old.
The future is 4 years old. I like that.
Yes. Well, we've been trying to incentivize our local businesses and stakeholders to understand that these children are our future. The better we prepare them early, the better they'll do. Some of our success has been 10 years of having this coalition of individuals committed to this work.
Right.
And then secondly, we had an early education task force coming out of the pandemic that involved not only county and city government, but also our school system. They all came together for a year and put together 19 recommendations to move us forward. You
mentioned Kate B. Reynolds Charitable Trust a minute ago. Very quickly, why is their involvement and support and your relationship so important?
They are a supporter of so many of us in Forsyth County that are trying to do what's best for our children and families. They've supported and sustained not only kind of the project development of this work, but they've also brought in grassroots groups to help with parent voice and voices that had not been at the table before.
Right.
Making sure that some of the folks that have been marginalized in some of the conversations that were really critical to moving things forward, having them have a seat at the table.
Well, up on screen, you can go to prekpriority.org, which I hope you will do, to find out more information about what Leslie was talking about, and also a general shout out and thanks to the KB Reynolds Charitable Trust, and up on screen is kbr.org. I hope you would check that out. Leslie, thanks for being such a great guest and doing such great work in the community. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
We'll be right back after this.
North Carolina's economy is growing, bringing new businesses and opportunities. The need for electricity is growing too. At Duke Energy, we're meeting the challenge, providing even more electricity that's cleaner, reliable, and that stays affordable. We're getting out of coal and reinvesting in our communities with a diverse, balanced mix of energy sources and making targeted upgrades to the grid so that North Carolina can thrive in a smarter energy future.
Back now on Triad Today, always glad when we can visit with some of the good folks from Duke Energy, and I say folks, plural, because we have two superstars with us. Both guys I've come to know over the years, great friends of ours. Of course, Jimmy Flythe, Director of Government Community Relations with Duke Energy, and Randy Honeycutt, Project Manager, Duke Energy. Good to see you, boys.
Great. Yeah, thanks.
Jimmy, let me start with you. We had a really cold January and February. I don't have to tell our viewers that because we were shivering and I turned on the heat, and so we had high energy bills because we were running the heat. It went so high that I think I tried to dial your number at home and cuss at you, but I didn't do that. So how can Duke Energy help us save on energy when things like that happen?
Sure. That's why I invited Randy. We've got some programs that we can share. And, I know just like the other, our customers, my energy bills were up more than 30% over the previous January. So Duke Energy set an all-time peak record for energy demand in January. So it's been really cold, a lot colder than it has been in most recent years. Oh, yeah. But we've got some great programs in January, some of the incentive programs we had to help customers save energy. Some of them close to doubled in the amount of incentive. And so there's some great programs that can kind of offset that high energy use.
Right, help us save money and save energy. Randy, I'm going to throw a couple terms out at you. The first one is a Smart Saver rebate. What is that?
So Smart Saver rebate is for customers who are already planning to do an upgrade on their home, like a new HVAC, insulation, or hot water heater. Those incentives, as Jimmy just mentioned, some of them are $350 up to $500 now. Wow. So you're planning to do this work anyway. Go ahead and do the rebate. So not only are you going to get the energy efficiency from the new equipment, you get a rebate.
Okay. Now, what about this thing you emailed me about one day? It's called a Power Manager. What is that?
Power Manager is a very unique program where Duke Energy and its customers work together to kind of help drive down peak demand on the grid so that everybody has energy when they need it.
Let's say I got this Power Manager thing. I'm going to save money. This is great. I heard Randy talk about it on TV, and you go in and you do it. Now, how do I know that, like, during the summer, I say, hey, the house is too hot, or during the winter, gosh, it's too cold. But how do you prevent that? How does Power Manager work?
So Power Manager, what it does is it actually suspends the runtime on the unit, which is where, hey, my house is going to get too hot or too cold, right? But when it activates, it actually will preheat or pre-cool the home so that doesn't happen. Suspend the runtime. Okay. I get to enroll it. It's my choice to be a part of it. And just that cold January morning the other morning, I walked by just curious, and mine was in that, and it was preheating the house.
Right in the preheat and rate. That's really cool.
Yeah,
automatic. Now, let me ask you another, I think it's probably a stupid question, but I mean, people know that Duke Energy tries to make money to keep going and put the money back into the program. But why would you want to help people use less energy if you're in the energy business?
Right. Well, when you're in those peak moments, right, energy prices go up. If we can partner together with our customers to reduce the energy demand, then we don't have to crank up an old power plant, buy energy at a premium, and we get to work together so that we can keep those prices down.
All right, we mentioned a couple of ways that people can get enrolled in the program manager and all these rebates and stuff. Is there somebody that people can go to through the website or a phone number, and somebody from Duke Energy will sort of recommend what's good for people, or what?
Absolutely. Well, if it's like, hey, where do I start? Home Energy House Calls a program where somebody will come in, they'll do an assessment of your home for free, talk to you about what energy use means, and give some ideas on how to improve it.
And Jimmy, everything we've been talking about, it kind of benefits everybody, right?
It does, yeah. It's a win-win-win is the way I look at it. It's good for the consumer, the customer, helps them save some money. Good for Duke Energy, as Randy said, kind of lowers our overall demand peak, gives us some options, and it's good for the environment because there's less energy that's got to be produced to meet our needs.
Right. Now, guys, I'm going to put up this thing on the screen, or TJ will put it up for us. It says duke-energy.com. That's the general website. So I guess we have just a couple seconds left. Either of you can answer this. If people go to that website, how do they know what to do to get to somebody to help them?
Yeah, the products and services is kind of upfront. When you go to the website, it's right there. You can click on it. Sometimes a banner even kind of talks about smart energy saver programs, and so they're pretty quick links. Any of these things you can type energy saver, and they'll take you right to.
It's right there for it.
It's easy to find on the website.
Jimmy and Randy, thanks for all you do, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you to catch my column Longworth at Large and Yes Weekly every week. It's available throughout the Triad, or you can go online, yesweekly.com. Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the round table, but a quick shout out to the good folks here at Cena Botanical Garden in Kernersville. Check out the website, check out the garden. There's always something growing here, and including my admiration for these three guys. On my right, you like that, didn't you, Ogie? On my right, Ogie Oberman, always a political left. Dr. Don Martin's here, chairman of Forsyth County Commissioners, and Keith Grabberry, my good buddy of many, many years, who's founder of Helping Hands Consultants. All right, guys. State Representative Brian Biggs of Randolph County is sponsoring legislation that would raise the speed limit to 75 miles per hour on highways and interstates. Critics of the bill say that the going to 75 will result in more frequent and serious accidents. Are you okay with increasing the speed limit from 55 to 75, Ogie?
No, you can't blanket the 55 to 75. Some places need to be, 55 needs to go up to 60 or 65. Some of the ones 65 need to go up to 70, but not across the board.
Don?
Yeah, I think only on interstate highways, where it's 70 now, to go to 75 would be okay.
All right, Keith?
Yeah, I'm with Don. I think there needs to be some moderation, but I don't think 75 is an accurate number.
75 is kind of fast for just normal, isn't it? After 5 years on the job, Greensboro resident Louis DeJoy says he's going to step down as United States postmaster. It's normal for, the guys like this, major campaign donors like DeJoy and others, both parties, political parties, to be rewarded with high-level government jobs like DeJoy was. Here's my question. In an effort to eliminate conflicts of interest across the board, would you like to see major donors to either political party be barred from working in federal government? Ogie?
Well, I was never a big fan of DeJoy, but just give them ambassadorships. Don't let them do anything important.
All right, Don.
Well, I don't think it should be carte blanche. I think if a person is qualified, they ought to be able to do that job, then that's okay.
Keith?
Both of these are wrong. If you're giving a lot of money, you're going to get a job, and it's going to be a high-level job. That's why you are giving money for jobs and access. That's what it's all about.
You don't like it, do you?
I mean, it is what it is. I don't think it's going to change.
All right. Meanwhile, President Trump is making moves to privatize the Postal Service as it shifts toward the Commerce Department, and then he'd like to see it go private. Good idea or bad idea, Ogie?
Another bad idea from Truppy.
You don't like it?
My father and uncle were lifelong postal employees, and I've been close to the post office my whole life. That's a horrible idea.
Don, what do you think?
Well, there may be parts of the Postal Service that could be contracted out. But I think that ought to be a decision under the umbrella of the Postal Service.
Keith, going private with the post office?
No. Again, that's going to be someone who's a major donor, who's going to get all of the contracts. It's not going to be the best person for the job. It's going to be the one who has the most money, who gives, is going to get the contract.
By the way, we're in 2025. I think it's the 250th anniversary of Benjamin Franklin starting The U.S. Postal Service? I think it was. Anyway, 1775. Okay. During the Biden administration, forts and other buildings, which had been named for a Confederate soldier or slave owner, were changed. Now that Trump has scrapped DEI, Fort Bragg, which was changed to Fort Liberty, is now reverting back to Fort Bragg. Anybody have a problem with that? Oh.
Yeah, it's just more of the same, Jim. He's just going to make the Redskins go back and the Indians go back, and let's just
reverting back. Don, does the change, does it bother you?
Well, I'm in government. I'm about spending less money. We've just gone through spending a bunch of money to get a chance at liberty. I don't want to spend a bunch more money to do the same thing for nothing but a
You'd rather just keep it as liberty.
At this point, keep it.
Yeah, but I think he's determined to change it. What do you think, Keith?
I think you should keep it the way it is. It's just a ceremonial thing, but it speaks volumes to a lot of people.
Right. Now, longtime Rockingham Sheriff Sam Page has announced he'll challenge incumbent State Senator Phil Berger in the 2026 Republican primary. Page has been sheriff for 27 years. Berger's been wielding power in Raleigh for 25 years. Quickly, guys, who wins this primary next year? Ogie.
It'll be interesting. I mean, Sam Page is a pretty popular guy. Berger, a lot of people ready to put him out to pasture. It'll be close.
Don.
I think it'll be close too, but I think Phil Berger probably has the resources and he'll probably win.
Keith.
I think Phil Berger is going to win. He has the resources and he has a lot of chips that he's going to call in for favors. Right?
A lot of favors there. Yeah. A Republican congresswoman from New York is proposing that we honor Donald Trump's birthday with a federal holiday. Under the proposal, Trump's birthday would be commemorated on June 14th along with Flag Day. Good idea or bad idea, Ogie? Do I need to ask you?
Why don't we just have stupid idea of the week? Last week it was putting him on Mount Rushmore. It seemed like her family would have a come to Jesus chat with him.
Birthday holiday, Don?
Well, we have a President's Day already, which I thought was to honor all of them.
Right.
And as I said on the Mount Rushmore question, I said, well, perhaps there needs to be a test of time to see that things have gone well before we commemorate.
Keith, have a Trump birthday holiday?
I think President's Day is enough. I do.
All right.
I do.
All right. And finally, researchers in Australia say that camel's milk is better for you than dairy milk. They say camel's milk is better for digestion and it can prevent cardiovascular disease. Guys, would you drink camel's milk? Ogie.
If you were raised in, say, Saudi Arabia, and somebody said, you can drink cow's milk, you might say, that's gross.
I'm talking about now here in America. Don, would you drink camel's milk?
Well, if it's pasteurized, I'd probably drink it.
Keith, would you drink milk from a camel?
No, I don't want any camel milk. I don't want any dog milk. I don't want
probably
cat
said
milk.
That wrong. You probably put it in a glass first.
I don't want any camel milk. No.
All right, well, that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. A couple from South Dakota says the secret to their 68-year marriage is that the husband sings loudly to his wife in bed every night. Now, let that be a lesson. You want to stay married a long time, you have to make noise in bed. I don't think that came out right, did it?
That didn't come out right at all.
All of us here on Triad Today, I'm Jim Long.
That's all
See you
wrong.
next week.